So these are the alternate revenue means that can be brought in. At the same time, there are certain successful initiatives. Obviously, we'll try it from the start, the drawing board onwards. We had used the lightship material along with the low draft, which will obviously reduce the resistance and accordingly the power. The consumption of power is another criteria which is affecting us. The electricity that we are using is we intend to go for the solar net zero power from the solar, which is also initiated. So that is also a means of reducing the operational cost and bringing up reducing the viability gap. We have a requirement of about 17 megawatt, 12 to 17 megawatt when it is fully operational. So that is also, we are looking forward for a solar plant of our own from where we can supply to the grid and get the power for the entire operations. So that is how we can save the fuel cost, which is one of the major costs for the operations. Maybe I can stop it for the time being due to the time constraint.
It's quite clearly emerging that, and I think most of us knew this, that there is a gap. In that gap, the world has also seen that there is a gap. And various countries have tried to address this differently. We have a few questions that's coming from the panel, and I'll just pick up this question from Girish, which says, what are envisaged role of regulatory and standardization bodies to facilitate the transition and control development without compromising safety? Now, the regulatory aspects and the safety aspects. See, I go back to where I started, and again, probably one of you can take this. I think my feel is that if the regulator and this body tomorrow, day after we have these discussions, we suggest to the government that we create a roadmap, and in this roadmap there must be, and it is aligned with the global goals. So, for example, can we, just to pick up an example, can we say that in the Indian ports, all tugs, say, 10 years from now, starting off, there could be a roadmap, but 10 years from now will be definitely hybrid to an extent that the green part of it will not be less than 50% or 60%. This is a wish list, something like this. Now, to do that, who steps in now is going to have a gap. We know for sure, we are talking to the senior tug players in the market, there is a gap. Can the government pool in a fund? And this is not the full fund. We are not saying that the full tug is to be subsidized or whatever it is. But this is a VGF. This is like the Innova fund in Norway. Can this fund support? Another point, see, we have delivered now 4 vessels to the Jindals, JSW group. They had 16 vessels. They wanted 4 they have taken from us, the balance they got from China. They need another 16 vessels for the Jaigarh plant. They are ready. They are ready to actually talk electric. But then there is a gap because they have to set up charging infrastructure. They have to set up, and still there is a gap. Can the government come in with a gap fund? But can we actually have a roadmap? So this is a question which we should actually raise. And technology-wise, I get the feeling that, and we can raise it to IMDA, we can raise it to the people here, but our feel is technology-wise, we are ready to do this.
We have amongst us Mr. Sumitran Sampath from Class NK. I believe he is very well aware of what is happening in Japan. Can you please respond to what is happening in Japan?
And before Sumitran comes in, I can pose the second question so that people can think. Between Akshay and Hariraj, I can see Hariraj has asked a question. Technology retrofitting is support available from upstream supply chain. If your question is, for example, if somebody like an Akshay or a Hariraj's institution is ready for a retrofit solution, would a company like mine or L&T or a Mazagon dock, would we actually, along with your proposal, can we go to the global market? If that's the question, my answer is yes, but if you can have that question ready, and we can discuss that after Sumitran's answer.
Yeah, let me just introduce how Japan is handling this situation. They have a institution, governmental institution called NEDO, New Energy and Industrial Development Organization, which is very similar to our TERI, what we have TERI. And they have been given a Green Innovation Fund, which is about, presently it's about $32 billion, which means about $300 million, $32 billion yen, sorry, and $300 million. This will support all the new technologies that are being developed. In addition, for any ship owner who wants to come out with a pilot project using alternate fuel, they will have to, it's only for pilot projects and zero emission fuels, they will have to invest, they should be ready to invest in the cost of a conventional ship. That means a conventional fuel ship, they will have to be ready to invest in that. And the premium, the additional cost that will be there for the technology, new technology that is there, will be funded by the Innovation Fund. So this gap that is there is taken care by the Innovation Fund. Meanwhile, but the ship owner will have to invest.
So, Sumitran, thanks for that insight. See, actually the national PM's National Hydrogen Mission is already earmarked 320 crore rupees. It's coming out 320 crore rupees, and this is exactly what the government of India is talking.
Yes.
This is exactly what the government of India is talking. So, if we can push this a little bit more, see the big time. See, because what we are seeing in India also, see the likes of JSW, Adani, we are having the cement. All the cement guys are now silos in the ports. So vessels will be needed in India for near coastal, and the belief will be much more higher. I'm talking about new vessels coming in from the new age shipping companies, cargo owners come shipping companies kind of a thing. So there is a larger one, and I think if this VGF, like what NEDO or the Enova fund in Norway, it's almost the same, isn't it?
Yes, that's true. There's another concept which has come up in Japan is they're getting ammonia-ready ships. Today, if you see ammonia and LNG as fuels, they're quite similar. And what they are doing is when they're building for the transition period with LNG fuels, they are designing it for ammonia also. Because we have a lot of experience of carriage of ammonia on ships. We also have land-based industries using ammonia. So the fuel containment systems, the fuel systems, and the general layout of the machineries are both fuels are being considered, and they are built for the transition period with LNG fuel or dual fuel, but being ammonia ready. So that
also gets supported.
Then they can
that also gets supported under the schemes.
This is not under the scheme. This is by the ship owners themselves, because it has tomorrow, if the regulation comes in, the ship owner will be, I mean, it will ease his burden for changing over.
Thanks for that input.
Thank you, sir.
So I think maybe as we move forward, if we can evolve a consensus that we could propose to the government, and I think the government is ready to that extent. So one is DG Shipping, executing arm of the government, should actually come in with larger policies of what should happen near coastal in India, probably even stepping onto the rivers along with IWI and actually mandating what should happen on the rivers, what should happen in our ports. This broad guideline, not too harsh, but and giving it a timeline. I would think 10-year timeline, which is good enough for everybody knows that this is coming in. And then at today's level, if the government can come in and start supporting a bit of a VGF for such things, what Sandith was bringing out, solar, battery things, again, to be supported to a small extent, if we can actually come in and support that. Engineering. Now, this is all we are talking about new vessels. But in India, the traditional Indian shipping companies are still not with the new vessels. And I think we need to address that. And that is where the question which I posed, retrofit solutions. If solutions are made available to the Indian market, can Indian shipyards handle that? For retrofit also, can this be, because today as Arjun said, and we are doing like, the core designs have actually come from outside, despite the fact that we are having good design firms in India. Teaming up is happening, a little bit teaming up is happening, but can this be furthered up? So either Hari or Akshay, if you can just.
Hello. Yeah. Thanks a lot for the opportunities. This is Akshay from Vedam Design, but I speak on behalf of IMDA, it's the Institute of Marine Designer Association in India. So first, on the improvisation side, so there's, of course, as Mr. Narasimhan also mentioned, the efficiency is increasing the efficiency in the ship operations via the drawing board can also increase in energy reduction in energy consumption drastically. That's the first thing what we're doing. From the design side, the challenges, from the designer side, the challenges we face locally is the adoption of Indian designers in any new technology, right? We have been working ourselves in LNG retrofits for last 7-8 years. It took us so many years to actually conceive a project. And we got a project mostly from US. And the first vessel will be converted, first container will be converted in next year into complete LNG dual fuel retrofit. Now, so the technology or understanding of converting these exists in Indian design companies. It's just that there are no projects here in India. So Indian design companies are not able to produce those projects. But compared to the designers outside, they have multiple opportunities around for these projects. So hence the conversion retrofits happening there are much higher. So definitely Indian design companies are positioned to go along with the shipyards, take a solution, and whether it's LNG retrofits, whether other ESD retrofits, and take a solution.
Can I just interrupt an extension to that? And when you're saying Indian design companies, would we stop at engineering, or can we even go that extent and have Indian equipment makers also along with it? Because then it's the full package. Then it's an end-to-end solution.
For LNG, there are definitely Indian manufacturers who are there to contribute into LNG supply chain, full LNG retrofit supply chain. Certain equipments have to be outside, but LNG tanks, LNG piping systems, that definitely can be from India itself. And so designers, equipments, and the shipyards together can actually go out to the export market to convert these vessels into LNG dual fuel.
Would Arjun want to add something to this? Because we are actually talking a full solution possible here, and we are not insisting that 100% must be made in India. We are not talking about that, because just like what you are trying to do, what we are trying to do, international cooperation is needed in this. But are you seeing the seeds of a full solution which can actually be brought in?
Not yet. What I do see is the seeds of opportunity, because if you look at the statistics, since 2008, there's been a gross underinvestment, and we've seen this in our industry, 700 shipyards to 300 existing globally. But there's been a gross underinvestment in industrial manufacturing. So somebody has to meet up to that. The skill, according to me, is going away in Europe. India needs to come in over there. If you look at what are India's strengths, and I always see it, we have people who are willing to learn and who are willing to work. That's our greatest strength. And we need to really capitalize on the demographics that we have over here. But to go to the point you had mentioned, and we had mentioned this in one of the meetings that we had, we need to own global ships. Because, and I think this is what the Indian shipping organizations need to be cognizant of. You can go get a ship at 50% of the value today, okay? But after 5 years or 6 years, this is a 30-year-old life vessel. After 6 years, if you decide you want to sell it, okay, you're only going to be limited to a very, very small market within India. But if you get the right type of vessel, you'll have a bigger market, and you'll really retain the value of the vessel. And that really is the fundamental mindset shift. Personally, I think this 4th session that we have today on green finance, on shipping, is going to be extremely interesting to see how we can actually finance the ships.
I fully agree with you, but I, for one, am not here to give any gyan nor preach to the senior group, which is the Indian shipping community, for sure. All I am saying is that we are excited to see a new generation ship owners also coming in India, the likes of the Adanis and the Ambanis and the JSWs, who are also cargo carriers, and who are actually believing in what Arjun has just now said. Probably they have captive cargo also, but I think this will slowly start off, because probably today there's a larger gap. If the gap can be addressed a little bit, maybe our traditional shipping companies will also see this a bit more. Otherwise, there's always this friction, and I think we need to overcome this friction. Before I close from my side, just one more part, because this always come up. Does India need a larger industrial association? And this was my pet area during the Maritime India Vision discussion, MIB 2030. See, Korea has got something called Magnet. JSMEA in Japan. Here, we are scattered. And today, like when IMDA comes together as the designers, shipyards have got 2 bodies, nothing much to brag about. There are various organizations. Can there